Lifeline presents Bring to You Game by Lifeline. I'm your host, Lifeline. We have Steve in the building. How you doing, Steve?
What's going on, Steve?
Ain't nothing, man. We're gonna get right into it. We got the relationship game cards right here. We got two blue cards and two yellow cards. We're gonna start with a blue card just to start everything off. We're gonna get my mate card. My mate, commitment. Someone dedicated to the cause relationship. Is it a must, B, preferred, C, conversation, D, a deal breaker? Answer, then explain why you chose your answer.
Okay. At this point in my life, I would have to pick that as being a complete and total must A.
Mm,
Earlier on, before I got started, before I got married the first time, I might have been like preferred. Obviously, you want somebody that's in it for the both of you. Uh, and obviously, having gone through what I've been through, now that is a no brainer, like a complete. If that ain't there, it's a deal breaker. Like I'm not even gonna waste my time.
I got you. And I feel the same, Steve. It's a must for me. I would say prefer, but now, like you said, it's a must. Cause if you ain't committed to it, because we don't have to be serious. If you're my mate, I considered you for a real relationship. Like other people I might date or whatever, we don't have to be committed to one another, but we'll have an understanding. So I'm with you. If we dating, commitment is a must. A commitment.
Sure. However far you're in it, you want that person in just as far. Let's put it that way.
No, you're correct. All right. Now we go to the yellow card. It's a blank and wild card. I prefer blank over blank and why. A, good communication, or B, good sex. Answer, then explain why you chose that answer.
Gotcha. I am going to place communication over good sex. Again, based on my life experiences, when I was younger, I would have said, oh, good sex is the most important thing. What I learned is that concentrating on the good sex can cause a lack of communication or can keep things smooth where you don't communicate. Like it doesn't seem as important. And then later on something comes up and y'all need to be talking and know how to communicate about something, but you haven't practiced that too much. 100% communication. Now, the good sex honestly comes from that. Once you know you understand your mate and y'all know y'all are on the same page, then all the emotions just gel and everything and make the sex as good as it can be, I guess.
Nah, and I'm with you. I'm with you with that one too. Like you said, we was young, good sex was everything. I mean, it still is, but
Oh yeah.
it still is to me, but I wouldn't want to trade good communication for good sex.
Yeah.
So it would definitely be good communication. I feel like you said, like we have good communication, we could talk about making the sex better, and it just and I always tell people we could talk more than we could have sex.
Oh yeah.
So why would I want to have sex for you for this amount of time and then we don't have no communication when we have all this other time to talk to one another?
That is correct.
All right. So the next my mate card, the next blue card is selfish. Someone chiefly with one's profit or pleasure. Selfish. Is it A, a must, B, preferred, C, conversation, D, a deal breaker? Answer, then explain why you chose your answer. Someone who's selfish, your mate being selfish.
Uh okay, so you use the examples of profit or pleasure. Um
Yeah, that was a crazy definition, but I wrote the card, so when I researched
yeah.
selfish, I used that one. So
Well, that's cool. I mean, if my mate is generally selfish, then that'd be a deal breaker all the time because they're in it for them first, and I need to feel like that person is looking out for my best interest as well as I'm looking out for theirs. You know what I'm saying? It's
got you.
got to have that balance. If you don't feel like the person you're with is on your team and everybody's supporting everybody, that's fine. Now, of course, when you're talking about pleasure, I mean, yeah, I don't mind her being a little bit selfish. I want her to get hers. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna make sure of that. But as far as like a general definition of selfish, I'd have to say. that'd be a deal breaker.
Yeah, yeah. I think this definition, when I researched the card and looked it up or whatever, that wasn't the best definition, but we all know what selfish is.
Yeah.
I believe if a person is selfish, I is it's conversation to deal breaker because some
Right.
people can't identify them being selfish. They're not even aware. Like I was dating this female one time, and she was so used to giving, right?
Right.
So used to giving in a relationship. I'm a giver.
Right.
So she stopped giving. She just started receiving.
Right.
I had to tell her, she said, you know what? You right, because I was just I was so happy that having somebody that's a giver,
Sure.
I forgot to give, and we
Right.
worked it out. We adjusted that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you can end up with, you start a relationship, let's say coming out of like the one I was in, and you get with somebody else, and you realize after being with this second person, because they're so giving, you realize what you missed out on the person you were with. You had no idea. You had no frame of reference. This person's coming with so much, and then they actually help you realize, hey man, this person I was spending my time with before, the person I was married to, man, they weren't giving me anything. I was just along for the ride. This person comes in and starts filling in all the gaps and all the missing pieces of what you needed in a relationship. But that is definitely the one thing, because I'm a giver too. You definitely got to learn to. It's a trade, give and receive. Keep the circle going. You know what I mean? That's what everything is. It's just a circle.
I got you. I got you. So this is the bonus question. So you can answer freely. There's no multiple choice.
Sure.
I love it when my mate and I blank and why. Answer freely.
For me, the top of that, I mean, there's a list, but the top of that list would be I like it when my mate and I can just be in the same space and be about each other. Like, not necessarily sexually, maybe at least to that great, but I mean, just being able to hang out. I want to be able to hang out with the person I'm with, sit and snuggle on the couch. Things don't have to get physical, but we're just being in the same space together and sharing that time with each other. We're not sitting there, looking for something from the other person. There's no expectations. You're just being together. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, taking a day trip somewhere and you're on the road for 6 hours, but you're able to have conversation during the whole time. It makes, oh my God, we're almost there already. It just makes it go faster when you got somebody that you can talk to, and it doesn't feel like they're just absorbing what you're saying. You get something back from them. They're participating. They're engaged in it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, you said the last part. You love it when you and your mate is engaged with one another.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Not like yeah, not like marriage. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking
I
about
know
just
something
like
about like y'all both
yeah,
at the moment of having a connection, having a moment with each other, appreciating the
100%.
moment and enjoying one another.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I done answered this so many times because you're gonna be episode 11, so I'm not even wasting no more answers no more. I done get so many answers. This is the bonus question, so I done said everything from cooking with my mate, long trips to just not even arguing, just having a discussion and not
Right.
arguing. Because sometimes
Yeah.
you don't realize how important that is until y'all start arguing.
Well, you say that cooking. I mean, that would kind of fall under that category when y'all can do little mundane activities. You can cook dinner together, you can do this together, that together, because some relationships are hinged around two people like going from like we're going to go out here and we're going to go out there, we're going to go do this or we're going to go do that, but it's you keep hopping between different activities, but you don't have anything between the two of y'all to fill in the spaces in between.
Let me ask you a question now, because you open up a different space. Do you
Yeah,
do you think that, like, just going from experience now, right? Like we older men, so we didn't have different relationships. Do you
sure.
think when you don't have that connection because we probably started off more sexual than having a connection, because I've dated females that, and I said this in one of the episodes, like I would love, and it's like three or four things I would like to have. Like I like to have communication on the phone and
Yep.
communication in person. I like to have a good time in the house and good time outside the house. It's like different things I gotta have with my mate for our relationship to be fulfilling.
Right.
So I'm just asking you this question: when you feel like, because that's important to you, when you feel like you don't have that, do you feel like y'all started off wrong, or you possibly could have lost it in the process?
Uh, well, I, I guess if you're gonna when you're with somebody, maybe you need to look at it as two or three different buckets. And if you try to fill up the sex bucket first and leave all the other one, the communication and the camaraderie or whatever you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to leave all that, sometimes you got to bail out into one of the other ones. But some people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So when you put all your eggs in one basket, so to say, and everything with your relationship is heavily on the physical side, but y'all don't really kick it in any other kind of fashion, or you don't have a comfortable ability to go out and just hang out. You know what I'm saying? Just spend that off time when we're not doing other things or getting it on. You know what I mean? And there's some couples that don't have that. They just go from sex session to sex session to sex session, and basically everything in between, they're all doing their own thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't really know. It's hard to put it, but you've got to invest in all of that stuff, not just in the physical. Because as soon as that goes away, see that's the other thing too. I was looking at things with my ex-wife, for instance, and I was looking at it and I was going, man, all we got anymore is sex when we have it. You know what I'm saying? And once I realized that, oh, if all that was gone, then there wouldn't be anything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you gotta invest in the whole thing, man.
you don't get into the marriage thing. We're gonna tap into that with
Oh,
the
okay.
dialogue and all that. So, all right. So that was the appetizer. That was like to get us started, get us open, a little bit of questions. So now we get to the meat and potatoes right now. So these
Gotcha.
questions right here, these are the open dialogue questions. And since you already spoke that you've been married before, the first open dialogue question is, why did you get married?
Trying to think back 25 years. Um, I don't know ultimately looking back on it. At the time, I got married because I enjoyed being with this person. This was my favorite person in the whole world. I definitely was, I mean, I was already living with this person, but I'm saying, I was very comfortable spending every day and all my time other than when I was at work with this person. So, and then we started talking about having kids and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's that's what led me kind of to going ahead and popping the question.
Okay. Okay.
Because, and I guess because at that time in my life, I was looking at it like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the goal, is it not? You get with somebody that you want to be with, and then okay, well, that's the end of the road there, But
How old were you?
let's see, I was 28 and she was 22 when we met, uh, and now I'm 52. So Yeah, it's been a minute.
All
uh,
right. All right.
yeah.
Let me answer the question.
Okay.
You know, and the funny thing, I already had kids.
Hmm.
You know, because I was one of them long-term engaged dudes. Like I was engaged for like maybe 5 years um before we started planning the wedding, you
Yeah.
know, because we kind of was in love, out of love, you know, we was going up and down. And then I never
Yeah.
forget my sister Carmen, rest in peace. She's no longer here.
Hmm.
She was telling me because I already had two children, and she was like, you know, make her an honest woman. You know, like you shouldn't do that to her. And I value my sister's opinion. And it wasn't like I didn't want to be married because I engaged with her, but we had so many situations that happened. I kind of put the marriage on the back burner. Like let's get back to a good place so we could go through it. There's no like some people get married because they said they was, and but about time they go into the altar, they not even in a good place. They just finishing what they started, you know. So I
Right.
loved her, and of course, I didn't want my children. I want to raise my children. You know, I want to be in
Sure.
the household with my children because my first son wasn't in the household. So I loved her and I wanted to be with her. Just that the timing wasn't good. But then after I talked to my sister and she put it back, and we actually, once I started thinking positive, we got into that good place where I felt good about the marriage again, you know,
Sure.
and we went through with it. But I feel like when I first married her, when I first proposed to her, it's because I want to be with her. I want to be with her the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
Right.
But then during the engagement, you know, things went up and down. But then ultimately, my sister Carmen, she made me realize like this would, you know, like be a man and do right by your woman. You know, do right by your kid's mother, and that's what I did.
Let me ask you this question.
Glad.
When when you are a man and you do right by your woman, why don't some of them feel the obligation to do right by you? You know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking specifically about your girl or
I
whatever,
got you. I
but
got you. I feel like men and women do the same things. Sometimes we drop the ball, sometimes they drop the ball.
sure.
So I really can't answer for a woman, you know. I can't answer for a woman, but I just realized like we all do the same things, like, and even when it comes to race, like we all do the same thing. It's just that some people get put a put a you know, be stereotyped more than others. But
Yeah.
we all do the same thing. You got good women, you got good men out here, you got bad women, you got bad men out here. So
Because you used the saying that you said that she used, which make an honest woman out of her. I've
mhm.
heard that all my life too. I've heard people say that. Oh, you gotta make an honest woman out of her. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. How come? I guess nowadays I feel like it doesn't.
Ooh.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying? Like I don't know what people really and truly meant by that was, but all I know is that I have a feel, and especially I think it's a lot nowadays where yeah, you're making an honest woman out of her, but after you're done, like sometimes you don't have an honest woman. You know what I mean? I'm just saying,
yeah, you know, me personally, you know, this is one of the conversations where I tell my daughter, I tell my son, sometimes it just is what it is.
right?
There's no definitive answer there. And you know, and right now with the climate right now, I understand your sentiment. Like I understand it because like there right now, like you said, all the time we was growing up, make a person honest. And then so what I get it, you saying what was they being told?
Right.
I get it exactly. I just don't know because I'm not them. I
Like
don't
we used to watch our parents, and we thought, well, they got it together. Of course, they didn't all the time. They were people too, and they ran through problems, but they just didn't let you see it all. But sometimes I think to myself, I'm just like, I do feel like back in their day, and especially their parents' days, man, when you married somebody, when you got married, whether you're the man or the woman, like you made it and you were good. And like, but nowadays I feel like, and I mean, it's true on both sides, but especially with a man, you marry a chick, like you still can't let your guard down. You still got to watch and make sure everything's cool because things can change on a dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Relationships is just is you know, and what I've got from the last episode and what I got just and that's just a week's time. Like it's Sunday today and we recorded the last episode last Sunday. But it's just understanding like how much communication is important and seeing what a person really desire. Like knowing what your mate really desire is real important. And a lot of times, if they know what they desire and conducive for the relationship, they will never be honest. But because I've been there before, like my desires wasn't all what was in this relationship. I had other things I desired outside of the relationship. And so at times I understand it, but it's just right now, just having the real communications, like to me, and I'm gonna say it. I know some people ain't gonna like it, but like when I was engaged about 2 years ago, when we went through our situation, I was really considering an open relationship.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and the reason being, I read books. I was going down that rabbit hole because to me, a lot of times people desires change.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and at times people don't want to communicate and tell you like where they at right now. And sometimes it ain't the fact that they don't love you. Sometimes it's just that they have a different type of appetite. They have a different type of appetite and they can't even express it to you. And so everybody's not the one person or the committed person or like some people have different ways about them, but at times they don't know how to express it to their person because
Right.
somebody might not receive it well because people don't want their person to be dating other people or messing with other people. But I
Right.
realize at least if you have that conversation, you could at least, I think my kid's mother said it to me years ago, and we was young too. And she said it, she was like, you know what, like just don't lie to me.
Oh, yeah.
That because if you tell me the truth, I might even choose what you decided. But if you lie to me and trick me,
Right.
I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna feel like you manipulated me, you tricked me. So just don't lie to me. And that was like we was real young. We was
Oh,
real
yeah.
that and that was just real. So now I go by that philosophy right now. So I know I'm all over the place,
No,
but
no.
but when you saying things about relationships and women, what they like, this climate is just different. And that almost goes into the next question. So if you have anything you want to give to here, I'm gonna ask the next question.
That would be the dating question of this year.
No, that's not it.
Oh, is it not?
The
Okay.
dialogue question is, would you ever get married again?
Oh, yeah. Uh, I'll go ahead and say yes, but let me tell you.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked with that answer. I didn't think you would ever say that answer.
Well, I only say it because I don't believe in saying never because something's going to happen somewhere along the way and it's going to, you know what I mean? And I guess I'm hoping something happens. I hope something changes my mind about that. You see what I mean?
Okay.
I want to be wrong about that. I might say, nah, I ain't never getting married again. And then I might run into some chick that just, she's all in. She's all about me. I'm all about her. We got everything. It meshes perfect. And we decide to go ahead and do it again. I don't like having to state in my business, and I don't really want that part anymore. But I'm I'm still not ruling it out because the relationship's more important. Do I believe that I'm going to find that person? I don't think so. The crops out there are just not that plentiful. I mean, eh, you know, trying to the hardest thing to do with anybody is build trust. Like you were saying, don't lie to me. Like absolutely, don't lie to me. Tell me the truth, even if it's something I hate, but don't lie to me. But when you tell the truth, you have to take accountability for the truth you told.
Mhm.
So, and that's something that I find women have a little bit of a hard time with is accountability. They don't like it when there's consequences to the things that they do and the things that they say, you know. So chicks try to sit on the fence a lot and decide which side they're gonna hop off on. But I'm just saying, if you need to have that, what's that word I'm looking for? That the integrity, I guess, to tell the truth to the person you're with, no matter if it's something you know you're telling them and they're not going to like it, because at least that person knows where they stand with you. You follow what I'm saying?
I got you.
I want to know the words coming out of your mouth I can stand on, even if it's something that I don't like. So because we can go from there and kind of work to a solution or a resolution to whatever that problem is. But if I don't think I can believe everything that comes out of your mouth, well then, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything. Like I said, like in a relationship, you don't have a lot of trust built up. You really don't have anything but the sex you have, and like I said, if that dries up, then you're done, kind of deal. But would I get married again? I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, but the circumstances are I just don't think I'm going to get there. You see what I'm saying? I don't think I'm going to meet that person. I'm sure I'll meet people that I want to hang out with, want to spend some time with, all that kind of stuff. But that criteria of what's going to make me want to actually go down the aisle again, that is like this. When I got married before, it was like this because I didn't know nothing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Okay, I got you. So at least you're saying you will, even though you said it's slim to none that is gonna happen. But because I don't feel the same way, but I'm like you. I'm not how you say, I'm not so I'm not I don't I ain't gonna say I don't believe it,
right,
but I'm in a space where if it don't happen, it don't matter. You know, because like it's sad to say this, and I know they be thinking this dude is a male chauvinist, whatever. But I learned years ago I could get sex from a woman before I get her to fix me a meal.
yeah,
So and I'm a good cook, so I don't really need your meal. So when I look at marriage, I would love to, but just the process of really courting and really aligning with somebody, I'm not all soul in like is for me or is possible right now.
right,
So I'm more inclined to have a friend or have this or have that or just date or just stay single. But I would like to. I just don't believe in it. And maybe because, you know, I might be 10% bitter because I just got out of a relationship, or I don't even know. Or I'm just realistically knowing myself and knowing the things I'm not going to tolerate. And
yeah,
right now, the climate, a lot of people is tolerating a lot of stuff just to say they are married,
right,
say they're in a relationship. I'm not saying, like me, I'm always being an entrepreneur and doing different things, but I'm not holding something to say I'm an entrepreneur if it's not taking care of what it need to take care of. I will go back to work. You know,
right. Yeah, oh
like
yeah,
to have the title and don't have the rewards is ridiculous to me. So I would love to be, but realistically, I don't know if I will accept the terms that has been given, you know,
Well, right. You've got to make sure that that person, if you get there to where you're contemplating that, you've got to make sure that that person is checking off all the criteria that you meet for that. And it's a lot of, and it goes back to what you just said a second ago. Like, you can get sex before you can get somebody to cook you a meal, or you're more likely to get sex before somebody cooks you a meal. You're 100% correct. But, you can smash a chick before, like way before. And a lot of times, if you were like waiting on that meal part of it, like, uh, a lot of chicks nowadays are like, cook you something. What are you talking about? Like, I ain't cooking you nothing. We're
well,
going to the restaurant, or, this takeout or something like that. But, you want to go back here and smash real quick, I'll do that to keep you happy. But I would almost love the meal before the sex, if you, at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, show me you willing to go in there and create something that's delicious, and we share that. And because that takes some effort that's coming from a place of love. I mean, even if she's a shitty cook, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if she burns it, I'm still happy with the fact that she cared enough to try it. You see what I mean?
okay, okay,
Yeah.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Now I feel you, and my whole thing is just because I don't want people to think like I done gave up on love or gave up on, and that's it's not the case. It's just
Right.
that being realistic right now and talking to people, men and women. I got a lot of female friends and just the climate, and maybe I need to get saved again for the fifth time and then go abstinence and find me a church woman and just, I don't know what the plan is. But right now, I'm not even on the plan of that. But
Right.
I know it's a great thing because I have some friends who have awesome relationships with their wife. And I'm not saying they don't have problems and situations, but they really have somebody that's there for them,
Right.
really concerned for them,
Yeah.
that loves them dearly. I desire that. I desire a mate that really love me, care for me, connect for me, and we on the same sheet of music, even more than marriage. Because if
Oh,
I
yeah.
did that, then I would probably be more inclined to get married because I have something great right now.
You have something that is almost enough collateral for what you're signing up for. You see what I mean? Because here you go, you're getting married again, or married at all, and now all of a sudden you're taking on certain responsibilities if that marriage ends. The state's going to come and say, okay, you got to do this and this, you got to give her this, you got to give her that. Unless you have all that on the other side, which of course the danger is they could take that away at any time. But as long as you got it, it's great, and it's more balanced out that way. As soon as they take it away, now you're now you got nothing but the state side of it. But I'm just saying, yes, I'm with you. I'm totally. That's what I want. I want that person that's on the same page as me, like you said. Um, and am I confident that I'm going to find that person? I don't know. Um,
It's like trying to make an NBA roster and we like six. It's like really like like what's going on? Now I'm just joking, but let's
no.
get to the. You done or
Oh, go ahead.
let's get to the last question. I didn't
Sure.
tell you when I hit you earlier today that after this question, you're supposed to ask me a question.
Oh, okay.
Like whatever you want to ask, but you got to be willing to answer it as well. So
Wow.
it's just like something you would like to address. But you asked me first. I usually tell the person before they come on this and
Yeah.
I ask them, but I forgot to ask you this. But let's get to this last question right here.
Cool.
Okay. The last question is how is dating in 2025 for you?
For me, I don't have a lot to draw on for that. I mean, I dated a chick for like roughly a year. Um, I'd say about a year or so after I got, but before when me and my wife split up, my divorce was actually finalized while she and I were together. But I think our thing lasted about a year. Um, she was great. I liked her. I don't really know what happened with that. There's a lot of mystery behind that. Because we just kind of landed the plane and got off. You know what I'm saying? Just there just wasn't a whole lot of talk about it, but everything was great up until a certain point. Um, so I really don't know, and I hadn't ever spoken to her about it because I know one thing I told her. I said, "Hey, look, I hope you're not one of those game playing chicks because I am not going to chase you. If you are going to do the old shit test type stuff that that thinks it's going to make me just come running after you and chase after you. If you act like you're out the door, that door's not opening back up, you know what I'm saying? Unless you come back in it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not coming outside and running after you. Oh no, don't go. Because, you know, if you really want to be gone that bad, then I'm not gonna stop you. And two, if you would just do that to see what my reaction is, well, that's some bullshit. So, like I don't even need that either. I said, I'm not chasing. I said, I'm right here for you as long as you want. I said, but if things get weird and you decide you want to do that in and out thing, I'm not doing that. Like, so, but anyway, she and I split up. And then since then, I mean, I've pretty much just been on my own, just kind of hanging out. I got my boys the time that I have them. And I pretty much am invested most of me in that, just spending my time with my children, well, I say children, but like they're both in high school. Um, and I just haven't really been searching per se. Like, and I think nowadays searching is like dating sites and stuff. I mean, I met the chick that I was with for a year. I met on Match, but I haven't started that shit back up. Because I ain't ready to put all that work into it yet. But there's been some people that I've seen out that I've shot a few shots, but
Okay.
people are weird out in public. It's a different day. It used to be you used to be able to go up to a girl and have a nice conversation real quick and, maybe swap numbers or give them yours or get theirs, whatever the case may be. Those things are a little bit, I don't know. Everybody's just uptight. There's just a general uptightness that I sense. You come up and start talking to a chick, you can look on them and just tell that it's like, well, who's this person and what do they want? And, it's just like, man, relax, just bullshitting. I'm just coming up trying to make some small talk to introduce myself and all that kind of stuff. But it brings me to the point of two dudes could walk up to the same girl and say the same thing. One of them's all tall, dark, and handsome. He's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that she'd be attracted to necessarily. And if the other guy is not someone that she'd be attracted to, even if they come up and say the same thing and try to do the conversation the same way, the one guy's getting her number, the other guy's a freak. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this creep came up to me and said blank. Well, if some businessman came along that you knew was well to do and all that kind of stuff, said the same thing to you, you'd be like, oh well, here's my number. Would you give me a call? That kind of stuff. So that's the only difference. It's all boils down to what they're looking for. But and I've run into that a couple of times where, oh, I'm sorry, clearly I'm not someone that pops up on your radar. But that's okay because I'm the kind of guy. I mean, I'll aim high. You know what I mean? I'll talk to chicks that I'm thinking probably most likely wouldn't want to have anything to do with me, just if nothing else for the practice of it. But number two, I mean, who knows? Every now and again, you find a diamond, a pearl in that clam. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but as far as 2025, I mean, it's not that great for me. Like I said, I'm not putting all of the effort into it. But eventually I will get back to doing it. And but right now the little bit that I've seen out there is it's a cold world we live in.
yeah. Yeah. See, I haven't stepped out yet. Like I'm kind of chilling because I I just came out of a situation, so I'm not even quick to want to start dating, you know? But what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing and what I'm witnessing, from my single friends, it's just real different out here. And that's why a lot of people have been going back and spending the block with people they used to date. Because like you said, is a weird climate, and people, the story you said about the female with the two different dudes, I got a female in Florida, one of my friends in Florida, and she said something because it's good guys, bad guys, or bad boys, or however you want to say it. It's guys that you would marry and guys you would, it's so many different categories they put different men in.
Oh yeah.
What she said was, when it comes to who she sleeps with or who she deals with, the person has to be attractive. She said, because what she's noticed is that some of the unattractive guys will still treat you bad. So if I'm going to be treated bad, at least let it be somebody who looks the part.
Yeah.
So it's just, you don't know what you getting out here. I just hope whenever I decide to do something on a serious level, that I have the discernment to pick a good person.
Oh yeah.
And it don't have to be the right person. Like I don't think God is that devious where he made your soulmate be one person. I don't believe that. And some people believe that, like, though, that's not my person. That was my person. That was the person God had for me. I'm thinking like, you're 50 or you're 60, like you're not married yet. Like, you think he really got this one person that you really supposed to? I just think it's just, connecting in a way where y'all both agree and have an understanding and y'all both have the same morals or the same compass of relationships. Like, y'all have this commitment. Y'all understand what love is. You understand, and the sad thing about it is, to be real with you, the wedding vows is probably the most essential things if you really want to date, if you really hold those words dearly.
Oh yeah.
Cherish, honor, love, or like these things are important because if you don't cherish your person, and that's what a lot of people are doing right now. A lot of people don't value, I say this episode after episode, a lot of people don't value their person. If
Right.
you don't cherish your person, why would you do right by them at all?
So see, here's my problem. Some, unfortunately, a lot of women, and I'm sure some men, but I ain't trying to date men. So, unfortunately, a lot of women out there don't take seriously what those vows. What are you saying when you take the traditional vows? You get these couples that, well, we wrote our own. Well, you wrote your own because you don't want to go up and say all that stuff that you're going to break somewhere down the line because you don't trust yourself. Not, you know what I'm saying? For uh, in sickness and in health, and nobody really worries about that because in sickness, everybody just thinks, oh, what, the flu, COVID, something like that. They don't like, what if a serious disease comes down and now, this dude's developed something. Now he's in a wheelchair. I'm not down with that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or for richer or for poor. That's a huge one because finances is always a problem in relationships. Yet people go up there all the time and go for richer or for poor. Are you sure about that? Because I mean that, and because I love you, I want you to be mine, and I want to be yours. Whether we live in a beautiful house or something bad happened and we're under a bridge somewhere. See that, and a man thinks that way. Like, hey, I might be living under a bridge, but I got you. And then, but the other side of it is, she looks at it as like, I ain't living under no bridge. Like, I will go get the next guy because it's that easy. And then certainly that leads till death do us part. Nobody cares about that anymore. Like it's just you're just saying it because it's just the traditional vows, and all these people want to do that.
Yeah.
I think you need to be careful what you go up there and say in front of God and all your family and everything like that. If you haven't reflected on yourself, and this is men and women, if you haven't reflected on yourself about those vows and you can't keep that shit up, then you don't need to take those vows. You
Mm.
need to do the new age thing or whatever, and write your own or whatever the case may be. Um, but yeah, just don't go because I mean that's supposed to be a religious ceremony, right? You do it in a church,
Mhm.
right? And not because instead of the magistrate's office or the find the judge, you know what I mean? So you do it in a church. I don't know how many people place that much weight on that either, but it's just like you've gone in here and you've said all these words. Well, they do mean something. You know what I mean? We're not just singing the national anthem before the game. You know what I mean? It's you kind of my opinion is you need to think about those words and make sure that at least with the person that you're taking them with right now, and that you can fulfill all that, and you're hoping that the other person can too. Um, yeah,
Okay. Okay. And I got you on that one. And I believe, when it comes to marriage, things is different. But now we're gonna end the show with think hard about what you want to bring to the table. I made all these questions that we just went through.
sure.
Put them up. Now tap into something that you might want to discuss. And you always got something to say, Steve. So don't be trying to, it's funny when you ask somebody something, they act like they don't have nothing on the tip of their brain that they want to talk about.
When you open a bottle of something and there's so much in there that you turn it up and nothing comes out because you got to kind of stick a finger in there and make something come out.
I got
Uh, it's whoa shit, did it again. It's something. It's like that. Um, Let me think for a second because
okay.
uh, I didn't get any warning about that, so I didn't get a chance to think
This
on
is,
that.
this is a show, Steve. So you
Sure,
got
sure, sure. Well, when we come back from the commercial break, I might have something. No, I'm kidding. Um, Let me think. Do you believe in? Let me ask you. Okay, okay, okay. You've met a girl. Hypothetical situation. You've met a girl. You've been like, wow, this person is awesome. I want to be with this person. Hell, I might even marry them.
okay.
Are you basing that off of who they are right then, or who you think they'll be?
Now I'm always dating people from who I'm dating right now because
Correct.
I don't know the future.
Would you also, on the flip side of that, would you agree that women don't generally do that? When they say they're going to marry you, is it because of who you are right now? Like they're in love with who you are right now, or who they think you will be at some point?
So you don't even watch my show and nothing. So you gotta let me talk now. You gotta
Oh,
let me,
I'm sorry.
but you no, 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 because you just stepped into that's a good question. So right now I'm gonna have to dive into this one. So to be honest with you, when I date somebody, I've learned years ago that I can't expect them to be. I used to expect women to be what I thought they should be, but at the age I'm now, I want you to be who you say you are. So when you tell me you like eggs, I don't want you to have allergic reaction to eggs. Like be who you say you are.
Right.
And then I could add to the situation to make it still like if a woman says she can't cook, right? I don't have to get with you and hope you could cook one day.
Right.
I know how to cook.
Right.
And then if you have a good, if you know how to pour the cereal up, or if you know how to do something good, I could take that because at least you told me who you are, you know. And I
Right.
dated women who who accepted me for what I was,
Hmm.
and some even wanted me to be even greater. And I've dated some women who wanted me to be different at the moment, you know? So
Right.
I believe it's all levels, but speaking of myself, you know, where I'm at now, because we can talk about the younger Steve and the Steve now, or the younger life, however you want to look at it. But right now, I deal with people where they're at, and I just want you to be who you say you are. That's it. I can't want you to be no more than that. But I get what you're saying with the women. I've dated women who wanted me to be different, and you know, and usually those relationships don't last because if you want a short guy and I'm 6'2", you know, I mean, I'm being silly with it, but
Right.
I can't be that. So you always gonna have a problem with that, you
Right.
know. And I dated this female one time, and she said something that was real, and um, and I didn't think about it at the time. She told me a year or so later, like we dated. She asked me, I didn't bring it to her. She asked me what was my typical type of woman I deal with. And I was like, well, you know, I mean, I dealt with all kinds, but she's like, no, like everybody has a type. And I said, well, usually I date tall, athletic women, you know? And I didn't notice until later on. She told me that's when she knew we wouldn't be in a relationship because she wasn't that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's
Yeah, but what the point I'm trying to make is this.
oh,
By her knowing that, she felt like she didn't have a chance because it wasn't my type.
right.
So now, in retrospect, of me looking back, me dating people that want me to be something different. Not that they just say they're attracted to this,
Right.
but they
Right.
want you to be something different.
Yeah.
It had me bow out of a relationship as well. So I didn't respect how she did it, the other female, because I didn't come to you like that. I didn't say, I want you to be this, 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 this. I was good with who you are. But when
Right.
you ask me something, so it gets different, Steve, when it comes to what people expect from people or what people want people to do. And I
Right.
think the individual just gonna have to process and see if they want to be a part of that. But
Right.
go tell why you wanted to bring it up. How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's some, the physical wheelhouse of like, how is she built? How is she? But I mean, I can take tall and slim, or I can do short and thick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a wide range for me because that box is a little bit down the line. You know what I'm saying? It's two or three spaces down. The first box is commitment, and you know, are you all about me like I'm all about you? Like, that's what I want to know. I want to know that you are here because you love me for who I am now. And if you're going to marry me, you're marrying me for who I am now, not and I will ask people this from now on because I will be like, hey, understand that if we're together for how we are now because that's how I love you. See, men do that. Men marry women for how they are now and don't want them to change. A lot of women marry men for what they think they can be or what they think they can mold them and manipulate them into being later on. That's not what I'm here for. It ain't your job to change me, and I'm not trying to change you. But if you feel like you've got to change me, then I'm not the right person for you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm not here to. We're not. You know. And I honestly, I think a chick that warns you out of the gate that she can't cook is probably somebody that ain't planning on cooking, and they don't ever want you to ask them to. Oh, if you tell them right out the gate that they can't cook, um, some are telling the truth about that. Others probably can, maybe can't do anything special, but they probably can do stuff in the kitchen. It's just they ain't trying to do that for you because I ain't cooking for no man. You know, some chicks are just like that. He can get his food somewhere. Like when he comes home late after work, ain't gonna be no hot meal waiting on him. It's in the fridge. Get it yourself, you know. And they tell you that in the early on, so that oh well, she can't cook. I wouldn't want her to cook for me anyway, so I won't ever ask her to.
I got you. I got you. Let me ask you this question though, because um you're single now. Do you feel like, because I'm joking when I say this, but I'm a little on the true side. I
Okay.
might be 10% bitter. And it's not towards women or my ex-lady, or it's just it's almost like the climate.
Yeah.
Like, and I think like people don't want to admit being bitter. And because it's like a taboo to be upset or be mad at something that happened, but it is so human to be mad or upset of something that happened. It
Yeah.
is so human. And we don't want to admit that sometimes we still was mad. Like I never forget when I had a breakup and I was going through I'm still in a relationship with couples therapy, and the thing happened and he said, Steve, he said, I hear you say you was disappointed. I hear you say this. He said, but to me, brother, it sounds like you're hurt. And I had to be like, we on the Zoom. My lady right here. I'm right here. I'm like, like what you talking about? Like hurt.
Don't call me out like
And
that.
then I had to think about it. And then we had to deal with how hurt I was. And
Right.
once I identified that I can be hurt and that I was hurt, then I was able to come out of that. And I came out of it pretty quick too. Because every session he asked me, where was I at? Like percentage wise, where was I? And as I was processing and realizing that me being hurt is not conducive of how I move forward, because I'm still, reserved or however you want to say. So, but it's funny because people don't want to own it. People
Right.
don't want to own it. They don't want to own it. But sometimes when people are still bitter, still hurt, still lack trust because how they treat their next person,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
healed until something resembles something that happened to them.
that's the problem. You come out of one. Okay, so take my marriage for instance. Okay, man, for a good long while, you're just sitting there in the broken pieces and the wreckage of 19, almost 20 years of being with somebody, right? And being for that someone that whole time. Uh, it takes a while, and you're at your height of bitterness then. You'll always have some bitterness, and I don't think it's wrong to have that. Okay, so I don't think it's right for anyone, much even a psychologist or a psychiatrist or counselor or whatever, to tell you you're wrong for feeling a natural human emotion. You follow what I'm saying?
Got you.
Like don't like I'm bitter, yeah, but don't tell me it's wrong for me to be bitter because of course it's right for me to be bitter. Someone left me after having taken those vows. They decided that, that they didn't want to work on a relationship anymore and there wasn't anything I could do about it. They decided they wanted to go hook up with somebody else while they were married with me. All these things.
I got you.
So, yeah, there's always some bitterness, but over time, you learn to pick up that box and put the pieces in there. Okay. And finally, you get it to the point where you got all the pieces picked up, but they're in a box. You close, you take the box shut, you put it up on the shelf. It's never going away. It's never something you're not going to think about. It's just you've kind of dealt with it and you've made a place for it, and you can move on with your life and function without that being the giant pile of Legos that you're trying to walk on all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's in the not in the forefront. It's kind of in the background. Uh, you've found a spot on the shelf for it. Is what I like to say because it ain't going away. It's you know You can't, it's not something you can get rid of. It stays there, but you got to compartmentalize it in a way so that you can keep going and keep functioning. And yes, to a degree, when you get with somebody else, you'll be wary of certain things, but you got to be careful to not make that person feel like they're on some kind of probation the minute they get with you because of something that somebody else did to you down, before. You know what I'm saying? If you get with a girl and then she starts telling you about how she was in an abusive relationship with something with somebody else, and then all of a sudden now you feel like, well, I got to be careful. And then some of her behavior that comes at you is kind of like, you know, being wary that you're going to be that kind of abusive person. And if something pops up that even sort of reminds her of that, even if you ain't even trying to be abusive in any way, but if you do anything or say anything that even sounds like it used to be with that other person, man, they'll start treating you like shit because that's just their reaction to the fight or flight to what they had dealt with before, and they don't want to go through that with you. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about, that we have to understand about people because, I hate to give this analogy, but, and some of my friends hate my analogies, but right now, if you haven't been dating your person since they was a virgin and y'all been together 30, 40 years, however the case may be, dating nowadays is almost like I hate to put people as machine what I'm about to say, but I'm just follow me for a second. We got to realize we at the used car lot, and some of these cars has been damaged, some of these cars have been this, and then we have to understand it's a reason why emotions and feelings is important in a relationship because when we get that used car, right? That used car could have fell off a cliff, right? But you know what? When we get that car and we driving around that corner, the car is not gonna react to that corner because it don't have emotions and feelings,
Right.
but people do.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that's why I try my hardest to look at each person I date as an individual and not to put them in the same pile with people that did similar things. Because if I do that, I will never give you a fair shake.
Right. Well, and that's true. That's why I'm saying to a degree that's not fair. There's a balance and a fine line between just kind of being wary and putting that person on probation. So, you don't need to pay for somebody else's sins, and just like the next chick I date don't need to pay for what somebody else did to me, but and that's the important part. That's why there is, and it's different for different people, the period that you need to go through, the number of years you need to be away from that whole scene in order to get back to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of varies for different people, and I might not have been past that enough when I was with that other girl for a year, and that might have had something to do with it. Thought I was able to go doing that, but man, that bitterness, I hadn't finished cleaning up that mess yet in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to know,
So,
and I think I'm gonna start my therapy sessions again. I haven't really gotten because there's a couple of things that I've talked about on the show that I think I want to address with a therapist. There's a couple of things, and I wanna really identify like the bitterness.
right.
Because is it okay to be 10% bitter and 90% better? Is that okay? Or you have to not be bitter at all?
You can't not be bitter. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, you can't not be bitter. You will always hold a little something of a man, that bitch, god damn it. You'll always I'm serious, dude. There will all
I'm
be
just
a
laughing because you curse, bro. That's all.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You good.
But I'm just saying that you will always carry a little bit of that. You know what I mean? It'll be like you can't get rid of it all. I spent 19, almost 20 years with this person. That you just don't get to sweep that away like cutting grass and we're blowing the clippings away and everything's nice and clean now. Like it as though it didn't happen.
So let me ask you this. So the 19 years
Yeah.
was right for you to hold that because the longevity. But the year and a half with the other female, do you think you have some bitter or resentment of that?
Oh no, I'm not bitter with her at all because I don't feel like she really did anything to me that was wrong. We just we were good, and then there was some things that kind of happened, and I think she kind of made a decision, and then I was already like, yeah, that's probably going to cause that to go away. And I just didn't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't do anything about it.
Mm,
So, like I said, we just landed the plane and everybody got off, and that was it. You know what I mean? There's no bitterness to her. Dude, she treated me like gold. In fact, I'd give just about anything to have her back in my life again. I think about her all the time. And
mm.
that's been 2 years ago.
All right, let me say something though, because you said something that's real. And I want to know. So I want to dive into bitter. I'm gonna need some people. I'm trying to get a panel together. The panel, I got a couple of people. I'm gonna get a panel together. So it won't just be one on one, so we
Yeah.
could dive in and get different perspectives. But one thing I want to know is it really being bitter? I want to dive into being bitter because to me, my last relationship, I'm not mad at her. I'm more mad at me than anything. And I'm more mad at me more than even being mad at the relationship. Because I loved her. We had a good relationship. It's just some things we just didn't connect on, or
Right.
we didn't agree on, or some things I might have allowed. So therefore, I'm more mad at myself because of some of the compromises I did. Because sometimes we make different compromises for different people.
Right.
So I guess that's where I'm more at as a person. So I'm not bitter. That's why I'm not bitter towards women. I could date somebody right now, but I just don't want to date nobody serious because I that last situation we probably argued more or had discussions more than any other serious relationship. So to me, it was like I'm exhausted with that.
Like having a really nice car, but you're always working on it under the hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a weekend mechanic. I don't want to be.
Yeah, we don't need to do a lot of tinkering. We're
I don't.
trying to get
I
out
don't want to
here.
be doing that. Life to me, like I work, I do different moves with different projects and different things I got going on. So it's like when I get home or when I get to my time, I want it to be, peaceful. If not, it don't have to be peaceful all the time, but that should be the focus of having some type of peace, some type of and to be happy to be in that moment. Because when we work, we making money, when we doing different things, we could love to do it, but our personal time is more important than that other time. First time we did this, but me and Steve interview lasted another 40 minutes. So I'm gonna cut this video short and I'm gonna release parts of the rest of the video in bonuses or little clips. Thank you for tuning in.